Steffi, shall we start or do you want to give it a couple more minutes?
Yes. We should start. I was just waiting for a few more to join, in fact.
Sure. No worries. We can wait.
Steffi already recording start ചെയ്തല്ലേ?
Yeah. Yes, Neha. I have just activated the same. Yeah. Josetta, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Sreeram, and good evening, Steffi.
Hello. Good evening.
Josetta is our president, okay, MAC president.
All right. Everyone, where are you located?
I'm based at Bangalore, but my business is
Okay.
in Cochin.
Okay. All right.
I think Dr. Steffi number start ചെയ്താലോ?
Over Josetta. Yes. Okay, sure.
All right. So, Steffi, I'll start off. Yeah.
Just give me a few minutes time.
Sure.
Okay. Yes. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Steffi.
Okay. So, a very good evening to everyone present here. A very warm and cheerful welcome to each of you joining us this evening for this exciting and insightful webinar titled Want to Get Hired, organized by the Career and Professional Development Wing of the Marian Alumni Association Kutikana. Today's session is all about unlocking doors to your dream career, understanding what it truly takes to stand out, get noticed, and most importantly, get hired. I'm your host for the evening, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome our beloved principal, Professor Dr. Rajamon sir. And today our principal celebrates his birthday, and we, the Marian Alumni Association, extends a very happy birthday, and we wish you many more joyful returns of the day. And let me also take this time to welcome our esteemed executive committee members, very especially our team leader, the President of MAC, Sri Joji Sebastian, Vice President Sri Dario Ebi, Secretary Sri Balu Krishna, all governing committee members, again, teachers from different colleges, our respected alumni, and dear students who have joined us from different corners. The Career and Professional Development Wing has always been a platform committed to nurturing employability skills, bridging the gap between campus and corporate, and preparing young minds for meaningful careers. And this evening session perfectly aligns with that purpose, a session designed to inspire, enlighten, and equip us with practical wisdom for our career journeys. So now it's a time to meet the man of the evening, our distinguished resource person, Mr. Sreeram. And today, let me take the privilege to extend welcome to my dear friend and our resource person, Mr. Sreeram. So, of
Thank you.
course, Sreeram defines versatility in the truest sense, a jack of all trades and mastering some. Currently pursuing his entrepreneurial venture, Sriram has previously led operations and customer success at Zenda, a GCC based fintech startup, where he played a key role in driving innovation and customer engagement. With his diverse experience spanning leadership, operations, and entrepreneurship, Sriram brings with him not just corporate wisdom, but also a refreshing real world perspective on what it truly means to be employable in today's competitive landscape. So let's put our virtual hands together as we warmly welcome Mr. Sreeram to take us through this enriching session, One to Get Hired. Over to you, Sreeram.
Thank you, Steffi. Thank you. That was, a very flattering intro. And yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Most
All right.
welcome, Sreeram.
So, guys, good evening. This is not going to be your normal formal sessions where you're going to have a slide playing on the screen and you guys can just listen to it in the background. And, I believe that's what happens in a lot of classrooms and that's what happens in a lot of other sessions as well. I would definitely like this to be a little interactive. Like I've seen previous hosts also attempt to do that, but not with much success. But however, I'm only going to be able to answer questions if they are relevant for you. Because I'll have content, but unless and until it's relevant to you guys, there's no point in, spilling those beans, right? So, yeah. So how many of you here, are in your first year? I believe it's a mix of first year, second year, and we even have PG students in the mix, right? For this set of students or the attendees here. Now, my primary question is, what is the reason all of you have gone for a degree or a PG? What is it that you want at the end of it? I would like one or two volunteers if anyone can, you know, unmute yourself and say a couple of words. Even a single word would be more than enough.
For getting job.
Okay, that's good. So that's a good sense. So at least you're not here just for the degree, right? Because I've met a lot of students who are here, who are, pursuing their UG just for the sake of the degree. They just want the degree and want to get out. And when you're going, when you're approaching your whole education as a pathway to a job, what kind of job do you have in mind? Do you have anything in mind? Have you ever looked at that side? Kashi, I understand that you're a first year student. So even if you've not thought that far, it would be a good time to start thinking. So others who have probably spent a year or two in college who are already pursuing PG, is there somebody like that in the mix who could answer this question? Do you have a specific kind of job in mind? Any profiles that you've looked at? Okay. Looks like we either have a very shy group or a group which is, otherwise engaged. All right. Now, one common mistake that a lot of us make when we
Sameer,
go through college.
excuse
Yeah.
me. Yeah, you can also ask them to give messages in the chat box so they can
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
me.
That also works. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So I think you will receive more of messages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So yeah, if you guys have answers to this, is there any kind of specific job roles that you've thought of? Is there any kind of job roles that you're trying to achieve or get to, and this degree is only a means to an end to get there? Do we have people like that? Okay. So now, since there's no response, here's what I'm going to do. Now I'll give you generic ideas. Now, if you're able to take it and fit it into your systems, you can go with it. If you require clarity, please raise your hand. Please put a message in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask as well. There is no language barrier. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മലയാളത്തിലോ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലോ ഏത് ഭാഷയിലോ വേണമെങ്കിലും ചോദിക്കാം. Hmm? So here we go. Yeah. So what kind of job and why എന്ന് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കാനുള്ള important കാര്യം, because you need to start preparing yourself to fit into the requirements of that job. And that is not just in your final year when you're applying for the jobs. You can be smart about it and start rigging yourself for success by tailoring what you pick up from different classes, from different professors, from different subjects, the angles that you want to pick up, the specializations that you want to pick up within subjects. You don't need to get to PG. And the second most important thing is self-learning. This is something that most of us tend to skip in colleges because we are not too focused on where we want to be. We're just here because we need to be here. Now, self-learning is extremely important because the professors are going to mostly stick to the syllabus that is given to them because that is their job to ensure that the bare minimum of the syllabus is done. And then there'll be professors who go above and beyond, who'll give you interesting tweaks in terms of how additional information you can leverage from which parts of the world, which parts of the web resources, and all of that, which will help you again align yourself to get in track with the kind of job that you want and why you want it. Now, coming back, I think this will be a very engaging session with Kashi, yeah, because it looks like he's the only one who's responded. So Kashi, what kind of job? I'm sorry, man, to pick on you. You're the only one who's responded so far. So yeah, what kind of job do you want, Kashi? Why are you here? Or is there a salary number in your mind that you want when you get into the job market?
Yeah, I expected a salary of above 80,000.
About 80,000 in hand per month, right?
Yes,
All right. Great. Great. Very achievable. I don't think there is any impossibility in performance. Now, Kashi, what is the subject that you picked? What is your degree on?
BCom,
BCom. Okay. So first year, how many months are you in now?
3 months.
3 months. Okay. So you're barely through the first trimester or semester, getting through, right? Now, Kashi, for one thing that I would definitely tell the first year students to do is in the first year, this is the time for you to explore all the subjects that are there for you. Identify which are the ones that are going to give you an edge. You know, the ones that you like the most, the ones where you are able to perform the best. Latch on to those subjects, identify where those subjects are going to be applied in real life jobs. Now, how can these subjects become a part of your real life job? And these are the subjects that you're going to have to spend a little bit of time every day in terms of self-learning. This could even just be reading 5 minutes of news that is related to that work so that you understand what is happening. It might not seem very relevant today, but this is where the effect of compounding comes into play. So even spending 5 minutes a day looking at what is happening there, how is that job role evolving? Are there additional tools that these people are using, or what are the tools that these people are using? Because by the time you come into the job market, it is going to be heavily influenced by the current tech world that we live in, which is the AI impact. The number of tools are going to go high. And then it is going to be purely upon you to choose which are the right tools for you. And this is going to be a constant evolution. It is not a stagnant scene. So what you can probably do is understand which are the subjects that you're going to buckle down on and double down and, be extra prepared on so that at the end of 3 years, when you're going and applying for a job, you know what that job demands of you. Secondly, you're very prepared because you've got historical information from over the last 2, 3 years where you've done this additional reading. So you understand what that profile is like, how that job environment works, what are the tools that they're using. Now, not all tools are accessible. Some of these tools are really expensive. Most of them are paid versions and you don't get access to all of them. However, that shouldn't stop you from, attempting to understand at least what those tools do and, how they're going to help you. Yeah. Now, self-learning is the most important part here in this part. Now, coming to the second part of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, which is ensuring flexibility and also balancing how not to break rigid systems also. Now, when I say flexibility, one thing that we're all trained through school, through college is conditioning for rigidity. We are all given a set number of hours to perform certain duties, and we are expected to complete it within that time. Now, this is a very rigid framework that exists. I know friends who've complained through college. I've also been one of them through school that, it's very rigid. Why do I have to, sit for X many hours in class? Why should this session be 2 hours? Why is there a seminar for 2 hours? So the reason why you are put through these systems, and they've been set up through a lot of thought and design by people centuries ago, not even a decade ago, but a lot of decades ago. The school system, the college system, all of this, they're also evolving as time proceeds, as time moves on. But even then, there is a certain level of rigidity that is there. And it is very discomforting for a lot of people, that level of rigidity. Now, the reason why I'm speaking about this is this rigidity is super important because when you go into the workforce, when you're going into an office, when you're going into an established working environment, there are certain rigid rules that you have to follow. So within the system, within the walls of these rigid rules, you also have to have flexibility. Now, this sounds a little contradicting, right? Anyone has any questions, please feel free to stop me. What I'm sharing is my perspective. And if there are contradicting perspectives, we can definitely discuss it out. And please call me out if there is something that I'm saying which you're not agreeing to. We can have a conversation on that. Yeah. So when I say there are these rigid systems that exist and you are being trained for that, this will happen in the natural process. You don't need to prepare for it. This is what you're pushed into on a daily basis. Morning, there's a bell that rings. You have to be in a class. There's a professor who starts the class. There's another bell that rings. The class gets over. You're allowed to have a 5 minute break. Now, when I say flexibility, this is within the workforce. Just now, I told Kashi about when you're looking at how to get hired, when you approach jobs, look at what you want. If your target is a salary, understand how you're going to get to that salary number. What are the job roles that are going to pay well? Because not everybody who's got the same qualification gets paid the same amount. And this has got nothing to do with skill levels or nothing. It is just a choice that people make. I know people who have left jobs which pay about 3 lakhs per month and gone back to, doing things which pays them 60,000 rupees a month. Now, this is purely a matter of choice. It's not because the money wasn't good. It's because they didn't find it fulfilling enough for them. So be sure where you want to go. Be sure as in at least have a vague idea about where you're heading, right? In terms of if you're not able to, you can do it two ways. Either find the job role and then look at how it's paying well, or find a subject and look at how this subject links into. So this can be done forward, backward. You can do the permutations on your own. Try and figure out what suits you. Try and connect with your alumni who are working in similar roles if you want insights into how these roles work. I don't think anyone would be opposed to the idea of sparing 5 minutes with somebody who's curious to hear about what they do, how that world works, and what goes on in that world. Yeah. So that is where this flexibility part comes into play. Now, once you're into the work system, there are things that you need to do, which is part of the rigid system, right? You will have your KPIs, your key performance indices, which will determine how well a job you've done or not. Now, for somebody like me, a key performance index could be something like out of 10 of my customers who are there, I should ensure that 8 of them gives me a rating about 10. And these are, and that can be one of those index items. Now, when I say flexibility, I can choose to do just this, the list of things that I'm expected to do as part of my job role, and take my salary and go home. Now, there's nobody who's complaining. I'm doing my job. My boss is happy. My customers are happy. I'm happy because I'm getting my salary. Now, there is addition. When I say flexibility, this is where that step up comes in, where if you're able to do additional things that are outside the purview of you requiring it within your workforce, but also somebody has to pick it up and do. Anyone who's worked in institutions, anyone who's worked will have seen this situation. There are things that are supposed to be done, and then there are things that someone will do. If I don't pick it up, somebody else will pick it up. But if you're smart enough, you'll be the one to pick it up. Because there are two things that happen over there. One is you get exposure to learning something new, doing something new, and additionally, you can also have the flexibility or the opportunity to make a mistake while learning it also, because nobody else took it up. So then it's upon you to do it. You take it up, you do it, You can screw up in the process of doing it, but make sure that it becomes a learning. The mistake doesn't, stick to you like a lingering error, but it becomes a process of learning and you accept it and you move forward. Yeah. So this is where that flexibility part comes in. When you're flexible, you can take up more things within the time frame that you have today. I have 20 minutes free with me. Why don't I review that one document that my colleague has done? It needs to be peer reviewed by three people. Why can't I just spend 20 minutes on it? So these kind of additional things that you do, and this is not just in your workspace, even in your college. So while you're doing group activities are always you know, it's funny for some people. It's very annoying for others because the people who find it funny are the ones who don't do much of it. And they just sit and smirk and laugh and they're happy because the weight is being pulled by somebody else. Ideal team situation, everybody is fighting to do more work. Very rare, but that also happens. We've seen that. Now, so that is where in your college situation, when I say flexibility, when you've got group projects, try to spear lead it. Nobody is losing out anything. You're the only one who's standing to gain more from it by spending or learning more things while you're there because you've anyways paid the money. You've signed up for give your time there. Why don't you pull the maximum value that you can pull out of it? Yeah. Any questions so far? Any queries? Okay. Prithvi Santosh, thank you for your question. Yeah. So you're a final year student now, which means you've barely got 6 months left, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And while I'm going for a pursuing my degree, will I am going for a professional certification a good option? Depends again, my friend. How relevant is that professional certification going to be in the next 6 months to 12 months? Because it's a constantly changing world. What is the kind of certification? If you're looking at something where you're looking at accounting and then you're looking at, accounting is the vertical that you're going to pick post your BCom. And then you're going to do a certification in terms of what kind of certification matters a lot. Certifications definitely help you, but more than the value of the certificate, it's all about what do you know from it or what have you learned from it. Hey, Robin, you've got a question?
No, no, just I was listening. Nice.
All right. Thank you, man.
Well,
Uh,
what are you doing right now? You are into law, no? Corporate law.
Robin, we can connect separately off the call, man.
Okay, okay.
All right. Hey, if you could just go on mute, Robin, I believe there's a lot of noise from your end. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, Prithvi, have I been able to answer your question? So it depends on what kind of certification you're doing, and is it a certification that is going to stay relevant? Because if you look at right now, the problem with the world is a lot of things are changing. And it's very fast-paced change. Tools that we have used today, 3 months down the lane, don't even exist in organizations. They've been, replaced by some other tool which is even more advanced. Now, here is where all of that pours down, right? You might have multiple brands of software or tools that are there. Now, when you look at multiple brands of tools and softwares, most of these softwares do the same thing. It is only an understanding within what is it that you're specifically looking at that is going to help you. Getting a certification, if I'm going to go and get a certification in, let's say, a Power BI certification. That's a very generic Power BI certification. That's going to help me for sure. That's definitely going to help you if you're getting into management roles, if you're getting into organizations where, you're looking at doing management role kind of jobs or data analyst jobs, filling all of those vacancies, right? All of those opportunities. So I hope this is a problem with messages. I'm not sure if Prithvi is convinced with the answer or now whether to go for your master's, Prithvi, is a very good question. That again, A master's is definitely going to be important depending upon, again, what kind of, because if it's going to be a skill-based job, then it is purely reliant on your skill. Your qualifications don't really matter over time. It is only your skills and the number of years that you've spent honing those skills that matter. So a master's will open certain doors for you, but if you believe in yourself and you're going to give those 2 years, I would suggest, spend those 2 years upskilling yourself if it is a skill-based job. Yeah. So again, going for an MBA as masters will help. Now, going for an MBA as masters is definitely going to open certain doors for you because there'll be jobs which will have a cutoff of only MBA applicants to apply. Now, those jobs you will only be able to access if you got an MBA for sure. But then again, that doesn't restrict you to the fact that if you don't, because I know somebody, I've got a brother who retired as the CEO of Tinder, Match.com, which is the parent company of Tinder. Now, the thing with Tinder is, what happened is he didn't do his MBA. While he was going for he finished his degree, he was working. And then just before he got an admission for his MBA, and at that same time he got a job offer from one of the big four companies as well, and he went for that. He still till date doesn't have an MBA. He's retired at 40, 45. He is worked with global firms. He's settled in the US, and he's not working anymore. He's living his retired life from 45 years of age, which is really amazing. And the reason why I brought him up is because he didn't do his MBA. And the reason he told me was this: an MBA would cost him X much and it would take up 2 years of his time. While at the same time, since the job opportunity that he got was something where he believed he can perform extremely well. So he didn't feel that he required additional qualifications. And what he did there was in those 2 years, he kept earning money instead of paying fees. And also he kept going in one specific line of consulting, which really helped him and boosted his career. That could have been a confusing answer, Prithvi. So it definitely does help in terms of opening certain doors if you're looking at it from that angle. But at the same time, if you've figured out your passion, you don't necessarily need additional degrees. You just need to double down and up your skill sets and knowledge base in terms of what you can do additionally with this. Does that help, Prithvi? Now, most of us will be heading out for jobs and applying for jobs and trying to get into the workforce. Thank you, Prithvi. But there will be a few of us. So yeah, Jyotisha, so for sure. Yeah, short-term certificate courses, skill training, development. So these are all things that are going to add value to your resume as a fresher, right? For sure. Because as a fresher, when you're putting in your resume, all you've got is your degree so far. Unless you've got work experience, which you've gained parallelly while studying, which you've worked for 1 year, 2 year, even if it's just as a cashier in a bakery, doesn't matter. There is immense experience to be gained even in these minute and small jobs, and the insights that you get from there are priceless. So that's definitely there. But yeah, as freshers, definitely showing that you've taken an effort to go and do some additional courses to make yourself better equipped to, face the offices, the requirements of these companies, of these organizations is definitely a big plus. So when I review resumes, when I'm shortlisting resumes, this is something that we do look for because this shows initiative on the side, on the part of the student. And again, here, when we're saying trainings, when we're saying certificate courses, they need not be expensive paid ones. You can even do free certifications also, as long as it is just something to show effort. So other than that, unless and until you get to use those skills, you get to use those certificates or whatever you've learned to achieve those certificates, there's not really much value there. So do a couple of them and don't do them across the board, right? I know people who will go around and after this call and go and click on five different free courses which are across the web, and there'll be people who will be smart enough to pick the shortest courses and the easiest ones, or the ones without the tests, all of that, right? So you'll have multiple ways to go ahead and do this, but it all depends upon how you approach it, what you're trying to get out of it. If you're sure about the kind of roles that you want and the kind of jobs that you want, try and get your certifications aligned in a manner that it suits those roles and the kind of work. So if you go to Google and if you can just search for any kind of job role or designation that you're finding out there, Google will help you find what we call a JD, a job description, which will give you detailed outlines in terms of what is expected out of you, what kind of skill sets are preferred, what kind of knowledge in terms of tools are required, and that will help us move forward. That will help you narrow down your search. And that will also help you select these, the certifications and the skill training. Yeah. All right. Now, there'll be a small portion of us who will be moving into businesses. And then there will be, as in businesses, as in who will want to run their own entrepreneurial ventures and all of that. And then there will also be a small portion of us who will be heading out into startups or small organizations, which are, in their growth stage. Now, this is going to be a choice. And I would say if you're ever given that choice in your 20s, go for those startups, unless it's a very big brand and, it makes so much more sense to go into a bigger brand. But in your 20s, initial jobs, don't worry about big brands. Focus on upskilling yourself because the first 2 years after college is where you're going to build yourself. And that is the first stepping stone to your career direction. Now, the reason why I spoke about startups or small organizations is here is where you will have to be most flexible. And additionally, this is where you need to have the most amount of conviction about yourself, the work that you do, and it has to be done with what we call a sense of urgency. Not everybody runs at the same pace, right? Different people run at different speeds, but they all reach the same destination. The only difference is when you choose a startup and when you're heading into a startup, you should be ready and willing to run at your fastest pace. Because one thing that we consistently and repeatedly do in startups is failing. We don't hit successes at the first attempt. We consistently, repeatedly fail. And that is the trend in terms of the entire startup ecosystem. That is how it is. And when we say we fail, it is not like the end of the world. We fail because we try to fail as quick as we can. Because if this direction that we are taking is completely new, nobody's gone down this road, and we are trying to crack this problem. If we are not able to figure it out, we have to fail fast. So we fail fast, which becomes your first iteration. Then you move on to your second iteration, which is your second attempt at solving the problem and moving forward. Yeah. So here is where a sense of urgency is very important. And I would say a sense of urgency is very important, even if you're not with a startup, trying to finish things before your deadlines so that you can be well prepared. You don't have an anxiety attack. You don't have a panic attack last minute before you go on stage and present your slides to, your customers or your colleagues or your leadership even. Yeah. Any questions, any queries around here? All right. Looks like we're good. So that's pretty much all that I had in terms of my two little cents that I could share with you guys. Additionally, one thing that I definitely want to leave with you guys is live life looking forward. You will have follies that are happening while you're in college, while you're entering the workforce. Not necessarily everybody gets everything right the first time. or the first attempt. Just keep reiterating it so that like a startup, if you look at, you know, and look at case studies in your free times, definitely look at case studies because that will help you understand how much people have failed before they've seen the first glimmer of success, you know? So that'll definitely keep you in a positive note. Your exams are going to be tough. Sometimes the paper is not going to be easy. Sometimes the answers that you prepared might not suit the examiner well. There could be different reasons that you're having hurdles on your way. Don't let them slow you down. They're there for that reason to help filter out the people who are going to give up early. And the most common reason that startups fail is because leadership gives up on it, or the founders decide to call it quits before it's, actually time to shut shop. So same goes for your lives as well, your careers as well. Anything else that you guys want? There's one, Steffi, if you could help me, if you could just help share that link or I can do it.
Yes, Sriram. Yeah.
Would you be? So there's this speech that was written as part of a column for I think it's the Chicago Tribune in the 1997. So it's a very old column that was written, and it was written as a piece to students, addressing students who are coming into college. And so what happened is in 97 this happened, and in 2000 2006 this was made into a song. So what myself or Steffi, what we'll do is we'll leave 1 second. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll leave a link to that. Those of you who are curious about it can definitely try and see, if this song can add value to your lives. I would definitely suggest that everyone can definitely listen to it, whether you're 20, whether you're 30, whether you're 40, it doesn't matter. Because what this song speaks is very beautiful, and what uh the speech says is put in such a amazing manner that it'll make you think. It should ideally make you think. Yeah. Steffi, so if there are no further questions and if there is no further queries, I think we can call today.
Yeah. Sure, Sriram. Yeah, definitely. I think this is truly an enriching session, and I would request the participants to make the best use of this opportunity. So, if you have any queries, kindly post it in the chat box, or you can unmute your microphones. Any more queries? Yeah. Okay. Is there anything to be added on?
No, Steffi. So I think we planned for a 40-minute session and, we there. Additionally, I mean, this is something where it has to be back and forth, right? So the whole question was, do you want to get hired? Now, the I can only deep dive if there are people who have queries about like Prithvi who asked questions about should he do his MBA? How is it going to help him? Is it so? If there are queries, I can definitely help you understand this or at least give you a perspective of what people in the IT sector look at in terms of when they're hiring, when they're looking at hiring. So those would be all that I can, share right now because
Yes.
there is, yeah. So, yeah, guys, just to wind up the whole session, right? So, looking at hiring and finding a job, there are two parts to it. And these are things that you will already know, or I mean, I would be surprised if you guys are not aware of this already. So, the first part being there will be an elimination part where, there'll be thousands of resumes and then you'll get eliminated. So, there are tips and tricks in terms of how to get through that because now most companies are leveraging AI to do the preliminary screening. So this is where you need to customize your resumes and ensure that the keywords that are there in the job description that the company has posted needs to be part of your resume so that the AI clears your resume for that selection pit. And so you don't get eliminated basically, right? In the first stage. And then comes the selection bit. The selection bit is where your degree your courses, all of this is not going to matter. It's only about what do you know? If you don't know, are you willing and open to learning? And if you are willing and open to learning, have you shown that initiative in your past? And that is where those certifications in your resume makes a little bit of sense. That gives the interviewer a certain kind of faith that you've done something extra than what you've been asked to do.
Sri, we have a
Hey,
question.
Reshma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi Reshma. As a person who scrutinizes resumes, I'm just reading it out so that everybody on the call, if there are people who are listening, scrutinizes resumes. What are the key values you look for in one? So again, Reshma, so this differs from role to role. If I'm hiring somebody for a customer success role, then I look at do they have experience in terms of relationship management? Do they have experience handling B2B customers? Because handling a B2B customer who's a business, who's running a business, who's an enterprise business is going to be completely different from when I'm hiring for a associate who's going to go into the support system where they are going to deal with daily parents or if we deal with fintech, we deal with schools and parents. When so the empathy, there are values that we look for in these roles, and it's very role specific. So that is why I said when we are scrutinizing resumes, we look at aspects which show us, okay, this person's open to learning, or he's done some kind of research in terms of this role, and he's aligned some things in those on those trajectory, right? On that trajectory. So if you're asking me understand it from a resume. So customizing your resume for every application is something that a lot of people do these days. I've found the same person apply to two different jobs in the same company with two different formats of resumes. And he was really smart by doing that because he was able to get through the elimination part of the whole process by clearing that side.
Yes, Sri, I would like to add on one thing, one more question.
Sure, sure.
Relating to the same, can you give any valuable takeaways on customizing the resumes? Like when students prepare their resumes, it should align with the job profile, but definitely for getting through that, getting over this elimination process through AI, like how can any five valuable tips or somehow so that students can very well customize their resumes accordingly.
So this again, Steffi will look at, they will have to look at what kind of jobs are they applying for. This is very specific to the JD that the job description that the employer, because for the same role, like let's say customer success manager, for the same role, 10 companies can have 10 different requirements in their JD and five of them might be the same ones. So either the student will have to go through all the 10 JDs and then pick the five common ones so that, he has to edit less and less of his resume, or he can sit and, keep generating iterations depending on the job description. Smarter one would be to identify the five that are common across the board and then keep the two or three blank spaces so that he can fill it in as the job description demands and then push it in. There'll be quirks in the resume, in the job description, because some of these roles will be very local based. Like they will require local language knowledge or or a knowledge of some other language. So there are people who will have certain additional quirks there. People who have studied in KV or schools where they have or their Hindi is naturally strong. Then roles in regions where Hindi is going to be your primary language or those are the quirks that come into play there. So when we look at hiring someone, these are the quirks that we look at. How soon can we take this person and deploy them into the field is what we're looking at. So training is definitely going to be there in the workforce, especially for freshers. But even then, the more time the person spends in the field rather than in office or meeting customers or getting on the job is going to add value for him and his career and also going to add to his output quality over the period of time that he spends there. So the keywords are the primary thing, Steffi. I mean, there is no rocket science here when you're trying to get through the AI check in terms of resume selection. Keywords are the most important thing there. once you tweak them correctly. And secondly, please ensure that you do not have spelling mistakes in your resumes, especially if you're looking at roles where you have interaction, written or verbal, because all you need is a spell check. Everything from Google Word to Microsoft Word to all the Word applications, all the applications will have their own spell checks in these things. Just ensure that at least, if not you're correct by the British English, you're accurate by the American English at least. So that, because those things stand out. And so conversations like where we've liked the candidate so much and then the CEO is like, pass it on, the last round is with him. We pass on the resume and CEO immediately says, put it on hold. And we're like, why? We're like, there's a spelling mistake in his. If he's not able to type out one page resume without a spelling mistake, what are you going to train him on? He spent 3 years in college to get to this job or this opportunity, and this is a basic thing. So these kind of hygiene activities in your resumes also makes a lot of difference. And less clutter, more words don't necessarily mean a lot of value. It's all about what is it. It's just like approaching your exams, right? You can write 34 pages of a paper, and there'll be somebody who's writing 12 pages and scoring the same amount of marks. So what is the logic there? It's what is required, and where do you need to add stories and where do you need to remove stories? So yeah, it's just that I hope I've been able to add at least a little bit of value. And if there are queries that you guys have, feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, in terms of hiring, in terms of, how to go about your resumes. If there is anything that you want me to take a look at, I can definitely spend a little bit of time doing that as well. Yeah. You can get to me through Steffi or one of your professors, even Arun. Lots of people are there. Yeah. All right. Anything else, guys?
Any more questions? Yeah, I think this is the time to come to a close. So, definitely, this evening has truly been an inspiring journey. The one which is filled with so much of insights, reflections, and practical wisdom that has left each of us enriched and motivated. We, the Marian Alumni Association, on the banner of Career and Professional Development Wing, extends our sincere thanks to my dear friend and our esteemed resource person, Mr. Sreeram, for your valuable time and thought provoking session that offered a refreshing perspective on employability and purpose driven careers. So, we are quite sure that every participant is walking away with renewed confidence and clarity about how to approach their career journey. So, as we come to the close of this truly enriching session, it's time to express a heartfelt gratitude to all those who have made this evening very meaningful and memorable. So, to do the honors, I'm delighted to invite a person who embodies grace, sincerity, and wisdom in equal measure. Mrs. Neha Lucy Joy, a genuine soul whose warmth touches everyone she meets. As the head of the Department of Commerce and Management at St. Joseph College, Devagiri, she leads with vision, empathy, and a quiet strength that inspires both colleagues and students alike. With immense joy, I now invite Mrs. Neha Lucy Joy, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of Commerce and Management, St. Joseph College, Devagiri, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Sneha.
Thank you, Steffi, for the wonderful introduction for me. And good evening, all. Dear esteemed speaker and my dear friend Sreeram, Marian Alumni Association members, and my dear students. So, as a proud Marian alumni, it's my pleasure to thank all the persons who work behind this webinar to happen today. I want to get hired, the jack of all traders and mastering some. So, as part of the Career and Professional Development Wing of MAC, this initiative continues our shared mission to nurture the professional growth to our Marian family and to stay connected beyond our college years. So I would like to thank our resource person, our esteemed speaker, and my dear friend Sreeram, a promising entrepreneur from our batch, Leos. And Sri, you have rightly mentioned about that there is a gap between the college and the corporate life, and how much importance that we have to give in the self learning, and also how much we should be flexible in this rigid system, and the what the industry is expecting from the people who are applying for the jobs. So thank you, Sri, for enlightening us with your motivating words as always.
Thank you. Yeah.
And we know that this program is the continued effort of so many people. So let me thank the committee executive members. We have the president of MAC, Mr. Georgie Sebastian, the vice president, Mr. Dario Ebi, and the secretary, Mr. Balu Krishnan. And special thanks to all the governing committee members, and a huge words of gratitude to the career and professional wing of MAC. And a special thanks to Dr. Steffi K. Jos, the director, for organizing this webinar in a beautiful way as always. Thank you, Steffi. And I can see so many Leos here, and happy to see Thomas, Robin, Arun, Reshma, Manchu, and Noble. Happy to see you all here. Thank you for participating in this. And last, thank you to all the students who made use of this webinar. So dear students, in future also, let's come together to learn, to inspire, and to interact with each other. And looking forward to your active participation in the coming webinars also. And once again, I thank you all, and over to you, Steffi, now.
Yes, thank you, Sneha, for those blissful words of gratitude. And with that, we conclude today's webinar, Want to Get Hired. And a special thanks once again to our speaker, Mr. Sreeram, our
Yeah, thank
executive
you,
and
sir.
governing body members, the entire organizing team of the Career and Professional Development Wing for making this event a grand success. And as Sneha has rightly mentioned, many of my batchmates, my classmates, my dear friends have joined for the session. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time. So, wishing you all a productive evening ahead. Stay inspired, stay passionate, and remember your dream job begins with you. Thank you and good night.
Thank you all.
Thank you.